Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, there you go. The Yankees will not be packing their bags to travel to California as they go down in Game 5 at Yankee Stadium. And perhaps just one of the worst losses you could think of in Yankee playoff history. Everything was going their way. The Yankees were up 5-0. The stadium was rocking. You got a home run by Judge, Stanton, Chisholm. Cole was on the mound. He was dealing. No hits through 4 innings. I mean, you could almost taste the LA weather at that point. And not saying the Yankees would have came back all the way and even maybe won Game 6, but just to get the series back there would have been at least some sort of small win down 3-0 in this series there. But Yankees choke away in the nightmare of a 5th inning. Perhaps this is one of the brutal innings you think of. I mean, I go back to Mariano Rivera out there in 9th inning in Arizona in 2001. I mean, this was kind of up there with that, where just everything fell apart for the Yankees, and they lose the World Series and go down in 5 games. Hey, it was a close score, 7-6, and I discussed this a lot on the YouTube latest episode. You know, hey, a lot of these scores were 4-2, 4-2, but really from the 5th inning on, you just saw 2 teams that were just worlds apart, and that's why the Dodgers are the world champions and celebrated on the Yankees field. So it doesn't get any worse than this. So we'll get into the whole thing. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast. We got a long off season ahead of us, a lot of questions to be asked. Who's coming back? Who should be fired? Who should not be fired? All that stuff. Make sure you're a podcast subscriber. And as I just mentioned, there's the YouTube version of the show. Just dropped the latest episode yesterday. It was kind of the before Game 5, where, okay, a lot of it will be old news there, but some other nuggets and things to analyze just through the first game, some of Boone's decisions, some of the things that could have went better for the Yankees, where, you know, again, there were opportunities for the Yankees to make this a much longer series, a much more competitive series, but unfortunately they flushed it away. But yes, go to YouTube, Section 420, Talkin Yankees, subscribe, get that as well. So, you know, entering here, okay, the Yankees la-di-da, they won the bullpen game, you know, even though it was kind of close at the beginning there, but of course you got a good game from Anthony Volpe, kind of willed the Yankees to that win there, and of course they tacked on some runs later on. Now you're entering Game 5, where you figure, all right, we have an advantage here. We have our ace, Garrett Cole, going on the mound on normal rest. You know, our bats came alive a little bit in Game 4, and Flaherty, who just the Yankees saw just a couple of games ago, you know, hey, look, hey, this guy's not going to surprise us. We just saw him. So again, a lot of advantages and things going the Yankees' way. Good weather, figure the ball will be flying, and at the very least, again, even if you get the series back to LA and you lose it, fine. But again, this was a very winnable game for the Yankees, and they came out smoking. Dropped 3 runs on the board before you know it. You got home runs by Judge, home runs by Jazz, back-to-back, belly in the belly there. And unfortunately, sorry to see, you know, John Sterling have to go out as his last game as the Yankee play-by-play man for the radio. So things were rocking there in the Bronx. Stanton with a home run as well. Everything was going into that 5th inning, and it just all went to hell. And it started off with Aaron Judge dropping a pop fly by Edman there. Again, kind of like a line drive to him, but we've seen him do this a million times there. I don't know if he took his eye off the ball or just got a bad angle on it, but the ball popped out of his glove. Just didn't get a good read on it. I don't know what happened there with his hand, or this coordination wasn't there. Leads to a run, which you figure, all right, no big deal from there. But then a little later on in the inning, you got a ground out to shortstop here. Now, look, obviously, there was a run of going from second to third there. Now, Volpe, I don't think he had a play at first base, but he tried to maybe, you know, superhero it a little bit, so he threw the ball to Jazz, tried to make a play on the runner going to third. It's not a routine play, and the ball bounced in the dirt there, and they weren't able to get the play, so I don't really blame on that one a little bit. That's just probably him trying to do a little bit too much, and again, it's not a routine play, and I know, you know, Jazz isn't a customary third baseman, even though he's been fine throughout this whole postseason run, even though he's kind of like learning on the fly with this stuff. I don't blame that one too a bit, but this was the big one with Garrett Cole not covering first base. Because even after that bad play by Volpe and Jazz there, Cole came back and struck out the next 2 guys. So you were just 1 out away from getting out of this potentially nightmare scenario with no runs on the board. Then you get a little infield ground out to Rizzo at first base. And I don't know if it was a miscommunication between Rizzo and Cole. But Rizzo, unfortunately, was playing too far back. He was probably expecting Cole to cover first base, but it flipped the ball to, again, routine baseball. This was a routine spring training baseball play. For whatever reason, Cole didn't go there to cover first base. Too late. Bet's safe at first. But that allows to run the score. Now you got to run on the board. Now the score is 5-1 with the bags juiced. And still a potential for Cole to get out of the inning, but none of the Freddie Freeman, who's just crushed the Yankees the entire series. The World Series MVP, no doubt about it. No long ball this time around, but just got a clean hit there, scored 2 more runs, and now you're looking at a 5-3 score there. And again, just as quick as everything was rolling for the Yankees, it was all falling apart. Teoscar Hernandez comes up, hits a deep fly to center field. Now, I don't know what the deal with this Judge, if he was playing to him too shallow. The ball, you know, dropped in on the warning track, so Yeah, it was a double, but I don't know the situation. I mean, it was a sort of a catchable ball. Judge usually, again, a big guy, he runs fast. I don't know why he was in a position to catch his ball. He was like 10 feet away from it, drops in on the warning track, 2 more runners score, and you just, in the blink of an eye, went from a score of 5-0 with 2 outs and Cole just getting out of the whole thing to the Dodgers putting up 5 runs just in the blink of an eye like that. Again, this is probably one of the worst meltdowns I can even think of. Cost the Yankees the game. Again, they had their ticket punched to Los Angeles. It was right there. The bags were packed. They were ready to go. And between Cole, between a little bit of Volpe, and of course the Judge era, all of them collectively let the team down. And then before you know it, you had a 5-5 score. And yeah, you figure, well, the score's tied, but you just felt you're going to lose that game at that point for them to come back like that. Now, the Yankees would take a lead later on in the game by a score of 7-6, and then more foolish, sloppy play to follow after that. Now, I'll start off with bringing Canely out for the 8th inning, and overall he's done a good job for the Yankees. I'm not going to crush the guy, but he's coming at you with changeups. So it's like, can you do something else? Can you adjust? Can you throw something else for these guys? I mean, it becomes too predictable. Kiki Hernandez leads off the 8th inning with a clean hit. Then after that, Edman, little infield pop over into the shortstop hole. I mean, really, there was nothing Volpe could have done about that. It was just, one of those perfectly placed hit. And again, when you're not doing well and you're losing, these are the bad breaks you get for the Yankees. And then after that, of course, Canely walking the next batter on 4 pitches. It wasn't even a competitive at bat. They figured Will Smith was going to bunt. He didn't have to bunt because another pitcher was closer to the strike zone. Takes a 4-pitch walk. And again, Canely probably won't show up in the box score, but he also cost the Yankees this game. They just gave you nothing there in the 8th inning. Could not record 1 out, so they have to go to Luke Weaver. First batter up, sacrifice fly to the center field, ties the game up at that point 6-6. And then after that, Wells called for defensive interference and in the Ohtani at bat. So basically, Ohtani went to swing there, and Wells' glove had too much over the home plate. I know they're trying to steal strikes on Ohtani there, but a little too aggressive. Ohtani's swing hits the catcher's mitt, catches interference, which then gives Ohtani the base. So now you got bases loaded yet again, and the Dodgers come up, Mookie Betts, yet another sacrifice fly, brings in now the winning run. So now the Dodgers are ahead at that point 7-6, and then Weaver, whoop-de-doo, strikes out Freeman to get out of the inning there, but the damage is already done for the Yankees. So just giving away at bats. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that also with in mind with Weaver. Also, he had more than 2 disengagements. Again, with the new Rod Manfred rules, the catcher can only have maximum of 2. He disengaged just 1 too many. Now you can complain, well, it's the new rules and all that stuff. Nevertheless, it gave them an extra base during that run there. So just sloppy play, errors, stupidity, not covering first base, catches interference call, and 3 errors on the board as well, just the whole game. Just playing like rookies, little leaguers out there. Just, again, the worst time to do that. And you give this Dodger team, you give a World Series champion team extra outs there, and they're going to take it and they're going to kill you. So the Yankees just dug themselves a grave with this one, and this terrible sloppy play. And from players you would have mentioned, I mean, Judge is an MVP, Gold Glove caliber defensive player. Early in the game, he made a great jumping dive play against the wall there, so that's the real Judge. But all this stuff cropping up at the bad time. And again, the most has to be Garrett Cole, just not covering first base. I mean, that's his baseball 101. That's spring training. That's like going back to 98, that game against Cleveland with Chuck Knobloch, covering first base there. The ball drops, and instead of just like getting the ball, he's pointing at the ball on the floor to the umpire like, hey, look at this, look at this. And meanwhile, a runner comes in, I think it was Enrique Wilson, comes in there and slides in at home, while Chuck Knobloch is standing there first, point at the ball. Just Mickey Mouse Little League stuff there at the worst time there. And the Yankees deserve to lose this game. And again, the Yankees can't say, well, we were just as good as them and all that stuff. No, the Dodgers do everything right. Even the Fox announcers last night, just saying, there was when Soto was on first base. It's like, take a bigger lead. Look at the Dodgers. They do everything right. They're coached well. Everything's better with them. And you get to see they're the better team. Not just with Ohtani, like that. Just the little things like that. Just the defensive plays, all the littles of the game there. Just much sharper than the Yankees, and you can see why they came away. And really, I think for the Dodgers, their hero for the game was Brandon Tiernan, who came on with Yankees threatening a little bit there in the 7th inning. Now, Volpe had 2 runners on there. Yankees at that point took the 7-6 lead and were threatening to do a little bit more, but getting Volpe to ground out there. And then Tiernan come back in the next inning with 1 out. He did give up a double to Judge there, so at least Judge got his back going in this game there. So if you want to hang your hat on that, fine, great. With the double and the home run earlier in the 1st inning there. But then Tiernan locking down there. And I'm not going to kill Stanton because, again, Stanton's been fabulous for the Yankees, giving you more than you ever could think, giving you Babe Ruth type of performance during this postseason run. So can't blame him there. But with a couple of runners on, goes after the first pitch, and it was way outside. It was high and away. Like, I know early in the game he hit one to opposite field as well, so maybe that's what he was thinking. And again, Tierin is a tough guy to face, so if you get something near the zone, you can hit it, put a swing on it. I get that, but he went after the first pitch, and it was kind of just a fly out to right field. It wasn't even like a threatening to be a home run there. So if you're Stan, I mean, that's the point where you got to take a couple more pitches. I mean, he just walked Jazz. He's a little wild. He doesn't look as sharp. He just gave up a double to Judge. You know, maybe he would have walked you. It would have been a deeper count, and you got a better pitch to hit later in the at-bat there. But Stanton going for it early there. Again, that was a bad move by Stanton, because I think the Yankees potentially could have put up a bit of a crooked number there. So instead of just leaving that inning with a 7-6 lead, maybe the Yankees could have leaving with a 9-6 lead there, where even if you give up a run or two later on, you still could hold on and push this thing to a Game 6. So just a lot of bad play from a lot of bad players, and what it ultimately comes out to is the Yankees losing. And to add insult to injury, Walker Buehler, who shut the Yankees down for the first part of Game 3. Again, this is a show I depleted their bullpen and the pitching staff brings him out to actually close out the game, and gets Wells and Verdugo to strike out. Kind of weak curveballs in the dirt there they swung at. Just terrible at-bats there, and they lose the game there. And, of course, now the Dodgers go on to be world champions, and the Yankees in defeat there. Just an embarrassing game just for the Yankees. They had it. They had the tickets punch. It was all there in the fifth inning, and then it all fell apart for the Yankees. So that's your ball game. Dodgers win this in 5 games. I thought it'd be 6 games, and it should have been 6 games, but nevertheless, 5 games there. And just bad times for the Yankees and the Yankee fans. So that's the episode. Now I guess we're going to get a lot to hash out. Do you bring Boone back? You look at some of the decisions Boone made, especially in Game 1 with Cole, taking him out too early, and then you can look for this game, Game 5. Did he leave Cole in too long? Because even after that disastrous 5th inning, Cole threw like 27 pitches. You would think maybe, all right, he's done, he's spent. Now his pitch count was low, but again, it was a very taxing inning. Now, to Cole's credit, he came out for another inning and at least gave the Yankees a couple more outs there before they had to finally go home to clean up his mess in the 7th. But you can figure maybe Cole was falling apart there. Maybe you should have took him out a little bit earlier when he was just going through that long, tough inning there. And maybe he just wasn't covering first base. I don't know. Maybe it was just winded. He was tired. I don't know. So you can almost blame Boone for keeping Cole in a little bit too long, though. So this was not a well-managed series by Boone nonetheless. And the star players, Judge, did not come up at all for them. Okay, yeah, he finally hit his home run in Game 5. Well, welcome to the series, but gave you nothing through the first 4 games, and of course making that crucial error that opened the floodgates in that 5th inning there. So a lot of finger pointing, a lot of bad play, and a lot of questions to be asked. Soto now, after the game, he mentioned, hey, look, he would like to come back to the Yankees, but he said, look, I'm open to anybody, so he could potentially be gone, or he could come back, so you got to make a decision on him. Got to make a decision on Gleyber Torres. I thought overall he had a good postseason. Didn't really come up strong too much in this World Series, but I'm not going to really hold that against him. Some of my views changed about him a little bit. I think he did step up and mature a little bit before our eyes there during this postseason run, but now he's a free agent. You got to make a choice on him. You got to make a choice on Rizzo. Now, there's no way they're going to bring him back, but they do have a club option on him for 2025, but you see what he is right now. Obviously, during this postseason, basically, you saw what he was doing. He was choking up at the at-bat and just trying to hit these little opposite field single flares into the shortstop hole, into left field, which, look, he got on base a few times. I can't say he was garbage. He was decent for the Yankees. Also, the fact playing with 2 fractured fingers, but with the amount of money you pay, the guy's going to be over $20 million. There's no way you bring him back, but you got to make a decision on that. And then, of course, a couple other guys going to free agency you got to think about. There's going to be arbitration, guys like Verdugo and Clay Holmes, Trevino, who's probably going to be gone. Of course, Wells has become now, he's going to be the full-time catcher. But again, decisions may be made there. So we got a lot of stuff to cover throughout this winter, so make sure you're a podcast subscriber to Section 420 Talkin Yankees. And I mentioned there's also a YouTube version of the show, so right after this, go to YouTube. And I know you probably hate the word Yankees right now, but type it in. You'll thank yourself later. Section 420 Talkin Yankees, subscribe there as well. So Yankees make it to the World Series. Is it a bad season? I guess not. I mean, get to the World Series tough. You can't say, well, you can't go back to Steinbrenner, win a World Series or nothing. I mean, that's just impossible to ask. I guess say overall it's a successful season. I mean, you got to the World Series after winning only 82 games last year. And look, you were beaten by a team that was better than you. It's not like, you lost to a lesser team. If you would have got eliminated by like the Royals or the Guardians, you would probably be kicking yourself. There's nothing really to feel bad about. I mean, the Dodgers are probably the better team, but you really hate the fact that the Yankees were close and, should have won Game 1. They had it in their hand and should at least won this Game 5 there. And, of course, they won the Game 4 bullpen game, which that's the game you were going to win anyway. So it was a missed opportunity where you could at least brought this to a Game 6 or Game 7 where you could have gotten more out of the season. This is put in that regard, but I would not call it a failure of the season. But, again, it's the way to lose like this, though. It does hurt. It's going to sting, especially that 5th inning. You're going to remember that the way you can remember Mariano melting down 9th inning in the 2001 World Series. So that's what I get to chew on. So we'll just take a little breath, a little moment, and kind of probably not want to look at baseball for a while. But before we know, we'll get right back into it. So thanks for listening throughout this 2024 season, and we'll catch you next episode.